Are you ready to revolutionize? Hi, it's Genesis or Genesis, and I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
Give me liberty, or give me death, or give me a Sega Genesis.
Also, Morbid Coffee.
I'm very sweaty.
Same.
I have air conditioning at least, so I'm not currently sweaty. Actually, it finally broke a little bit tonight. I was up on the roof watching the National Mall fireworks, and it wasn't too bad. But earlier today, there wasn't a day that the low temperature got out of the 80s this week. The low temperature was in the 80s all week this week. So, yeah.
All right, so since it's the 4th of July, we're going to play
You're probably going to hear
a
fireworks coming
United
over my
States
mic.
Revolution-themed video game that was released for the Genesis called Liberty or Death.
Yes, there is also a Super Nintendo version.
Yeah. Also, something else.
Maybe a
as
PC
well.
version?
A DOS version, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, this is a Koei Tecmo joint. It's a it's
Well,
a
this is
fucking
before they were
console.
Koei Tech.
Yeah, this is Koei. This is a real-time strategy game that you have to play with a controller. So I can already tell you that I Genesis won't enjoy this because I never do.
I feel like if you're into this type of game, though, Koei is probably the folks who have done the best with doing this kind of thing. Is it a real-time strategy? I thought it was just a strategy game.
Maybe
I
it's
didn't
just
think it was an
strategy.
RTS.
Maybe
I
it's
think
not.
I think it's
Alright.
turn-based or something.
Alright.
I'm not sure though.
Let's start a new game.
But-
Let's find out.
Yeah, I think that this was Koei's big.
Or should I just go computer versus computer and see who wins?
Yeah.
We could do either.
All right, I guess I'll.
I think you
try
should
it
get the
first.
sense of
Yeah.
maybe we can do
You
that
should, you
later.
should
but
bet
I
on the
think
computer, just like
Do you want to
American.
be George Washington or Thomas?
Yes,
Gage?
of course we want to be George Washington.
I don't know, man.
Come on. What day is it today? What day is it today?
I don't.
George Washington's
I never
birthday.
feel super great about America, but like I don't think things would be better if we had not left British rule. Like it's not like the shittiness of American history is not would not be less shitty if we weren't tied to the British for longer. So it probably doesn't matter that much. Leadership 97.
I mean, who can
tactics,
say?
discipline.
But I think
nay.
this-
nay is very good.
I think this game was a bid by Koei to
Man, Thomas Gage is his stats are just not up to snuff compared to Mr. Washington.
yeah, he didn't last long if I remember correctly, he did not last long as
What
the
you're saying
commander
is
of the
George
British
Washington.
forces in the colonies.
George Washington is OP.
But I think he probably should be.
Let's watch
I
those
think
battles.
This game was a bid by Koei to sort of make more inroads to American audiences, right? Because they have plied their. I mean, now it's a little different. It's been since they merged with Tecmo, and they've been really successful.
There's all
Even Dynasty
27 of the
Warriors,
original
is-
colonies. So
even their, even the Musou series, which is kind of their bread and butter these days, is mostly historical stuff. It's more action oriented, obviously.
who should I ask for support? The Board of War Chairman John Adams or the Marine Committee Chairman William Vernon?
I mean, I would ask for John Adams' support, even though he would go on.
Where do I
to-
need additional regiments?
Boy, at the beginning of the revolution, everywhere.
We'll go in the middle. Let's say
John
just
Adams was
someplace
my
in the
favorite
middle.
cleric.
I will send
Uh,
one Pennsylvania regiment. I will send one Delaware regiment. All right, let's see.
So,
what
but
William
they're
Vernon's got.
especially
Don't look at
in-
me. All I've got is a rowboat and a kitchen knife. That's our navy's not in great shape, I guess.
No, we would not have won the revolution were it not for the French sending us heavy naval support.
Should I undercut him? His normal salary is $13.20. Should I?
I
Pay
mean,
him
you
a
can
little
try to
less?
undercut him.
Let's
try it.
Let's. I think that's.
See if we
too
can get him
much.
for 1,100. So
I'm gonna send a fleet to the navy. How many? Increase your fleet by how many ships? Let's go. 3
Didn't you
ships.
just say your fleet was a guy in a rowboat and a knife?
Well, now we have
That's what
3
he said.
guys and the rowboat.
I have
and they
3
all have
rowboats and
knives.
2 knives.
Yeah.
that's right.
How much will I give the regiment this season?
I don't know.
How much?
It wasn't. I mean, if you want to be historically accurate, not very much, because it wasn't good.
We'll go 93. I think that's half of what I have.
Sure.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, they.
Yeah, look, see there. Yeah, 20. Oh no, 29 original colonies.
The Continental Army was not in great shape for a large portion of the revolution.
Was not a Lex Luger like.
No, it was not. Nope, there we go.
There's Joe's dogs. They love liberty and death. Britain controls the New England colonies' seas.
It's not good.
Britain controls the middle colonies' seas.
I think that guy in the rowboat can do some work.
American...
You just let him do his thing.
Yeah, he'll take care of it.
He'll send him over to Britain. We'll take care of it.
I wonder if in this game you can
military.
eventually get the French to save your ass in the naval
What
combat.
are your orders for Newport? Domestic, materials, personnel, military, info. Recruit, bribe, bonus, furlough. Buy food, build cannon, build boats. Parade, gazette. Let's just have a parade. How does that sound?
It's just like America.
It's the
right
4th of July. We're gonna have a
Say,
parade.
sounds
motherfuckers.
like what our current administration
Who will
would do.
take part in the parade?
now. Like we're in a city position.
I mean,
let's
we're
have
gonna
a parade.
send. Let's just send everybody on the parade, right?
Yeah. They don't have anything better to do.
Yeah, it's not like we're fighting a revolution or anything. But yeah, Koei was really.
How do I
mean,
initialize
Romance of the
this
Three
parade?
Kingdoms. I think that's a series that's still going on, if I'm not mistaken. And this series did not persist, so I guess it didn't. Also, these kind of games were not popular on consoles at this time, really, generally at all. But apparently, Romance of the Three Kingdoms
My
was
neighbors
more
will get
popular.
some awesome
than
firecrackers,
Liberty
maybe?
or Death.
Popular
Probably.
support has increased from 36 to 41. That's right, they like the parade. They like it so much.
Everybody loves a
I
parade.
think we're just gonna keep. Let's do another parade.
Just keep having parades until the
Yeah.
revolution is over. Can you install some carnival rides too?
Look at that's a
Put
good
some
parade.
Put some rabble in the stocks. so
Popular
that they
support has
can,
increased from 41 to 47. They love it. Loving these parades. Let's check out some information on BC and Neil Green. Body 15 out of 95. Dude's he needs to get in the gym, I guess. He doesn't
On the
really.
rowboat.
Nathaniel Green doesn't have what we would call a slammin' bod.
Back in the colonial days, that's what they called them.
Yup. He's really good at tactics, though. High leadership. Are these guys brothers? Christopher Green. Body 3 out of 83. Man.
Oh, he's worse.
Alright.
I don't think they're known for their on-the-ground soldiering.
That's why you make him go to the parades. It's cardio.
Right.
I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to
like
do.
you do. The manual for this game was probably about as thick as a phone book. Let's see what we can find out.
Check out the terrain in this district. Oh yeah, look good.
I'm not watching the stream, but I just love the response. Which is like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've seen better terrain.
Yeah, my orders are finished for Newport. Ooh, Albany. What are my orders for Albany? Well, you know what worked really well in Newport?
Having a parade.
Was having a parade. So let's get R. Montgomery and D. Morgan on that, because
Can you win this game by just having parades?
Oh,
Is
we'll,
my question
we'll
right
find
now.
out. Yeah.
Probably not.
Have you tried?
I mean, well, yeah, but I mean, so like one parade is pretty good, but two parades seem to be even better.
Like 2 parades on the same day,
colonists-
or
Yeah. Yep.
The colonists provide funding, additional troops, promotions, and fleets. In the first meeting, there will be 1,534 gold to spend for a 3-month cycle, which is 6 turns. The Navy will be unable to send aid to a player at all.
Ooh, Ticonderoga. I know all these places. I've been
It's
to the fort in
recommended-
Ticonderoga.
It's recommended to stay with the normal.
Who will take Eric Allen? I'm going to the parade, guys.
oh shit!
Hell yeah.
Can you become the president?
Probably.
Presidents of parades. What was Eric Allen, the president, known for? Having sick ass fucking parades
Yeah,
every
we just
day.
had parades every day.
Every day is Mardi Gras.
Well, let's just keep. We're gonna be in really good shape, and everybody's gonna be really happy.
Everyone's happy and hungover in your America.
Let's see what Gazette does.
So they recommend staying with the normal pay that the officers ask for, or they may begin to lose loyalty.
Oh, okay.
But do not be afraid to give them a little less than usual, especially when times are tight. Each fleet power 100 max costs 50 gold. Money given to regiments is the final step of the process. If a player controls 10 regiments and gives 100 gold, each regiment will receive 10 gold of that. There's not much point in saving, so do not bother. Okay, so apparently spend all the money that the Continental Congress gives you whenever they meet.
We're going to Long Island, so maybe our resident New Yorker can tell us. What do they like in New York? Coffee? What are they into?
Aren't you
Parades.
both our resident New Yorker?
Well, New
I'm a
York
real
City.
New Yorker.
Yeah. What do you like having a draft? You want to have some drills? Do some recruiting?
No.
A little
No,
furlough. We could buy some arms.
I mean,
How do they feel, Paul, about parades
Yeah.
in New York? Do they like them?
we fucking love them.
All right, let's have a fucking parade.
Man, this game is complicated.
Doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. We're doing really well here.
So you just make everyone happy with parades and you seem to win.
Yeah.
Parades are free of charge but cost 40 body to perform. Officers with a higher reputation stat generally get a better response from a parade. Multiple officials in the parade also gives a better public opinion rise.
Good. That's good.
Well, at least you're not spending any money.
What should I move my troops to? New London, Hartford, Wyoming, Fort Niagara. Let's go there. I know all about Fort Niagara. I've been there too.
Oh, what do they like there?
I mean, they're like me. Except shittier, probably.
But what do they like?
They like parades. That guy is too sick to go on parade.
You partied too hard during the last one.
During the last parade. Sir, this is the third parade this week. Alright, let's take off then. A well-trained soldier can be trusted in battle. What are your orders for Bennington? I mean, we could probably have a parade.
Are you having a parade into battle? Or
I don't know.
No, you can. There's a separate thing to fight.
can you fight another parade?
That's how the war started, actually. The British and the colonists
tried
scheduled the parade for the same place at the same time on the same day.
Oh, that just doesn't
And,
work.
Yep, that's how the war started. First shots were fired. Let's buy some food for these guys. I don't know.
Learning all about history during the stream.
How much food should we go buy? Let's buy 1,000 food. Got some food now. Because how you going to have a fucking dope-ass party after your parade if you ain't got no food?
true.
Right?
Well, it depends on what food it is.
White Plains. With the support of the people, all things are possible. You know what really drives up support for the people? If we have a parade. Marching,
You just stopped
marching.
this game seriously at this point, haven't you?
What are you talking about?
Oh,
Did you not
Sorry.
hear what my advisor told me?
He said this is the third parade this week.
It's like one of those mass hysteria events where it's just like everybody is having multiple parades per day all over the Northeast. Soldiers can't be effective in battle without powder. You know, if we have a parade, the people might just shower us with gunpowder. Oh wow, this is where all the people are. We're gonna send everybody. Oh my god, this is gonna be a hell of a fucking parade. George Washington.
we're eventually gonna find out that Eric's just making North Korea.
George Washington, his brother Walter Washington. Yeah. Everybody's going out for a walk.
So this game was actually released in Japan. Oh, also there is a DOS version and a PC 98 version.
Holy crap. Oh, a different scene. I just kind of want to get to I'm really just trying to whip through so I can see what some of the fighting stuff looks like.
Yeah. Well, you have a command that you can like.
Should we just
send
let
soldiers
Major
into battle.
David D. Mason go?
Sure.
Fuck it. See ya. We don't have to. We don't have him to kick around anymore.
So the original,
Don't
the
let the
DOS
door
version,
hit you in the ass on the way out, David.
the-
Go back to your
The-
fucking jars, Mason asshole.
See if you have parades anywhere else.
the DOS version and the PC
Uh-huh.
98 versions were released first. So this was originally a PC game.
Boston attacks Portsmouth. There we go.
We get a battle now. But the DOS version is a US exclusive, and the PC 98 version was a Japanese exclusive. And the Genesis version was also a US exclusive.
Oh
So
man,
there you go.
they have a lot of more dudes than I do. Their parade is gonna be so much better.
The Muteki says Nobunaga's Ambition America Edition.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
basically. I think I said Romance of the Three Kingdoms America Edition.
Do I
but-
not get a turn here? What the fuck? That British guy just keeps going. I don't even get a turn. I don't know.
Fuck
how
up
this- I
those
don't know
redcoats,
what's going
man.
on.
This game is like a lot less pick up and play than North and South for the NES.
Yeah. What is it? Like they keep. I don't know if they're attacking each other or why I don't get to do anything, but I literally have. There's nothing for me to do.
Yeah, it's weird that you're not. Maybe we should have watched the computer play itself first, just to see how the hell this all works.
But not only that, there's not even any. Oh, now I'm shooting back. But there's not even any stats or anything. I really don't know how the battle is going.
Yeah, well, there's those little numbers that keep appearing. I don't know if that's the number of soldiers in the regiment or like what.
How many casualties there are, maybe? Whoa! John Stark has withdrawn. But like, I don't get to move. I'm not in control of the tactics at all. I guess maybe it's.
Oh,
like
you're in a fort, so maybe you.
It's like an
don't
ogre
get to
battle
move.
thing, maybe, where you
Yeah,
just like prepare and then position your troops, and then when they collide, they have a fight, maybe.
I don't know.
Probably. There's probably not much tactical stuff if this is just a strategy game. Which means that this was destined for failure anyway, because the strategy side of this shit is usually never my strong suit. I wish there was a way to fast forward, though. I should not have turned the battle animations on. Let's we'll do a little reset here.
Electronic Gaming Monthly said of the Super Nintendo version, Koei is becoming the master of the historical strategy game. This is a game for players who like slower games other than your run-of-the-mill action titles. If you
Fair.
like the Genghis Khan games, you'll like this one.
Genghis Khan games.
Yeah. Did they do Genghis Khan games?
Must be.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. 1987. Oh, that's right. I remember that one. Yeah, that was an early NES game.
All right, here
Came
we go.
out
Now the
in-
computer's playing. Let's see what that manages to do.
Genghis
Also-
Khan. Original full title: Aoki Okami, Toshiroki Meijika, Genghis Khan.
Sure. Seems reasonable.
It's actually the second game in the series, but that one only was on PCs. So yeah, I guess
Oh man, I
their
forgot
comparison was.
to bump the frame rate back up to 60 for this.
But GamePro says, Liberty or Death's video war isn't revolutionary, but it is the Revolutionary War. If you think Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys are MTV award winners, there's a lesson to be learned here. There's all of these like nutshell reviews from these different magazines have like a lot of terrible puns. Game Players said, since most players in these parts know about US history more than that of China or Japan, Liberty or Death appeals to more strategy fans than those titles. But folks not used to the nature of RPGs and strategy games may revolt when they discover that this requires much time and work to make too little progress.
Boston attacks Portsmouth. John Stark was released. It's going much the same as when I was playing. True Neutral Eve Genius says, one of my favorite games. Also, I think in reply to your spiel, he says, Koei games are revolutionary. No other campaign affected strategy genre more than Koei. But well done. Very well done,
Yeah.
sir. Henry Clinton was released. William Howe was
Yeah.
released.
I think that certainly
See
when
if
it comes
he
to
can find another team to go play for.
certainly when it comes to console strategy games,
Definitely,
Koei was
for
probably
sure.
the most
Yeah,
was
they
the
were
most
they were
influential.
the leaders for sure.
I don't know about PC though. I feel like that. Like, when did the first Civilization come out? Was that in the 80s or was that not until
I'll
90s?
say 90s.
It would have been like really early 90s probably.
Yeah. Isn't like
Yes.
Alex says, "Don't be a coward, invade Florida." Alex, why aren't you in the Discord chat? What the hell, man?
Civilization came out in 1991.
It's too fucking hot
Okay.
to have for
True-
in Florida. What are you talking about?
True Neutral Ev Genius says Nobunaga's ambition was 1983. So yeah, I guess they were on the forefront. Alex says, "I'm eating. Be right there, Dad." Boy.
So while the computer plays this game, because I'm not really qualified to, I was looking at it a little bit, and it was designed by Stieg Hedlund, who's a dude that has,
Oh really?
yeah, like he's the guy that was one of the lead designers for Diablo and Diablo 2,
Yeah.
and
This game that we're playing right now?
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yep, this
Crazy.
game, yeah, the Diablo games, like a bunch of the Tom Clancy stuff that came out in the early 2000s.
Die Hard Arcade.
Revo. Yeah, he's been around. He worked for everybody, right?
Yeah.
At one
He's
point
still
or
at
another.
Blizzard.
Like, 'cause
He's
he
at
was
Blizzard now still,
he
right, or no?
was, I don't know. I think he owns his own company now. I think he left Blizzard. Because he went from Blizzard to Ubi to, I don't know.
That's right. From Sega to Blizzard to Ubi.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty interesting. I think he worked on
Benedict
I think he
Arnold was
worked on one of the
imprisoned.
Baldur's Gate games as well,
Yeah,
which
I think
was
you're
how
right.
I knew about him. But yeah, he's like in that second tier of like well-known video game designers. Like he doesn't have the same
Yeah.
recognition as a Miyamoto or a Sid Meier or whatever, but
Right.
um,
But
he's
yeah,
in like the
right
Chris
there.
Avalon bracket of people that are recognized if play a lot of video games, pay attention to a lot
Right.
of that shit. So.
Yeah, I don't know. This type of game, I definitely rented this game. I don't remember if it was a Super Nintendo or Genesis game when I was a kid, and it was just way out of my depth. Like, I just had no idea The most strategy type of game that I ever got into was do you remember Desert Commander for the NES? It was sort of like Advance Wars, but Famicom Wars never came out here,
much
so
simpler. Yeah.
but it's a super simple. Like I liked that game. I had friends who were into more of this stuff. Like I had friends who were really into like Third World War on the Sega CD.
Yeah.
Thought that game was super dope.
Yeah, no, I never really, the strategy side of stuff never really appealed to me. Like I've always been more interested in more tactical games. So like Ogre Battle's not really my jam, but Tactics Ogre was, one of my favorite PlayStation games.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of wish Mike was here, because Mike, I feel like, knows a lot more about this type of...
Yeah, I don't know if he played a lot of RTSs, but that's a different thing also. Like, real-time strategy requires the strategic layer and the tactical layer to a certain extent.
Right.
Games, like, I like some RTSs, but, like, more like Dawn of War 2 or Company of Heroes, like the games that are more focused on the tactical and less focused on the base building and the micromanagement and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, this isn't really my speed, but this seems a lot better and more playable and more comprehensible than that other one that we played, which was that, what was it, the Rome something?
Yeah, something Rome. Let's find out. Was that Alex that just joined the call?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's too bad.
It's George Washington.
If you type in Genesis Rome into Google, you get a bunch of hits for Genesis performing live in Rome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they released they released a DVD in 2008 called Genesis When in Rome.
Let's see here.
This is a little off topic, but I do have a story somewhat related to that we can come back to in a moment. It's kind of long.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Let me see. I'm gonna see. It was an early. That was
Warrior
early, right?
of Rome.
Warrior of Rome. How early did we play that?
That was a long time ago.
Warrior of Rome, and then we played Squirrel King the same night. Apparently, that was episode 13 of this
Squirrel
show.
King. Is that was that the
40 episodes
bootleg
ago?
Rescue Rangers game?
Yes, that was the weird bootleg Rescue Rangers game.
Because that was when they announced the Disney Afternoon Collection, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
But yeah, Warrior of Rome was a little bit. That actually had like a more tactical layer to it. I mean, this to a certain extent this does, because you like move troops around and stuff, but it doesn't seem like you have any direct control when in the battles. So.
True Neutral Ev Genius. I'm just gonna call you Genius from now on, because I don't like saying your full handle. I don't see how someone who likes tactics wouldn't like both TBSs or RTSs.
Yeah. I like telling my little guys what to do, and I like having like characters. I get more invested in characters than I do in numbers of units and stuff. I think that is actually the major driving force behind why I really like Final Fantasy Tactics and don't really care for Ogre Battle and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Final Fantasy Tactics is like one of your all-time faves, right?
Right. It's just just the focus is a little different. I think.
I just assumed it was because that's the only game I know of that has punching, teleporting.
Right. Or even
ninjas.
like the modern XCOM games where you're creating soldiers and building them up. Like there's an attachment to an entity, even if it's a fake one that doesn't really have a lot of story to it. Whereas in a game like this, it's just like there's like commanders and stuff, but I don't know.
He wants to know if you've played Langrisser.
I have not. We will play that for this at some point, and I'm looking forward to it. But I have not really messed around with that series too much. I have played one of the few Genesis games that I had played a lot of before we started doing this was Shining Force 2. And
hell yeah!
That's a fucking great tactics, turn-based tactical strategy RPG thing.
2 is better, but I also like Shining Force 1.
Yeah.
Oh, the Saturn one? I feel like people like the Saturn ones too.
I've never played the Saturn one, but people like that. It's like, isn't it? It's 3. There's 3 of them, isn't there, or something?
Yeah, I
it's
think
so
so.
weird.
Shining Force 3. That's one of those.
But they're all Shining Force 3. Yeah.
That's one of those ones that is extremely difficult to get your hands on, and also like I have no idea what the state of Saturn emulation is these days, but
it depends on what parts of the Saturn the game in question is using.
Okay.
That sounds weird, right? But like
that sounds like the ultimate Saturn thing. Like that is that's perfect.
Yeah. So I think a lot of 2D games work pretty well in emulation, and some of the 3D games are not great.
Yeah.
Genius says Shining Force is one of my favorite games as well, but lovers of tactics who never played Langrisser is a travesty with its
Yeah.
weird
Well,
robot smiley face.
I'm really looking forward to checking that out then, because like I played, I didn't have Sega systems when I was a kid, which is the whole point of this thing that we're doing. Really is for me to check out Sega properties and Genesis games. Like I didn't really mess with this. I know this was a Super Nintendo game as well, but I didn't really mess with it. But I didn't really hop on board with that stuff until the PlayStation came out, and then it was like, you know, Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, and then all the like weird. There's a ton of weird tactical RPGs for PlayStation, like Vandal Hearts and Vandal Hearts 2, and what the heck is the like Vanguard Bandits and
He says there are very few good ones though.
What's that other one? There was one that was like Sayuki Journey West.
I never played
Remember
that
that one?
That was supposed to be not great. And then there was another
I never
one.
played it.
Isn't that like the worst game on the NES based on Sayuki? But maybe that's not
the worst game on the NES is like
the worst game on the Famicom, I should say.
Well, either way, the worst game on the NES or Famicom. That's like there's a lot to choose from there.
Cardia, Brigandine. And I'm just looking at a list of the ones that I never did. Like Front Mission 3 is pretty dope. But yeah, like just like most of those games really aren't worth your time. Like Vandal Hearts is okay. Vandal Hearts 2 is interesting because everybody. Like you queue up your turns, and then both you and the AI characters move at the same time, which is kind of a weird thing. But
so it's like playing Diplomacy.
Yeah, kind of. No, I've never played Diplomacy. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a board game. It's a war game.
Okay.
But there's no dice. There's no element of chance. It's a pure strategy game, and everybody writes down their move, and like you talk to your opponent. It's a World War I thing, right? And so. I think it's World War One. Maybe it's World War Two. It's been a while since I played, but
some war.
It's one of those early 20th century wars, and so everybody's like one of the world powers or whatever. And then like once everybody's decided and collaborated or whatever, or has decided they're gonna fuck over whoever's playing as Austria-Hungary or whatever, then you all write your moves down, and then everybody moves at once, and so it's like it's got that sort of like you can't really react to people in the same way because you all move at the same time. So it's
playing
really...
time 4 to 12 hours. That's a big window.
Yep.
For what game?
For Diplomacy.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, you gotta make a day out of it. If you're, I've only played a couple times when I was in college with friends who were into it, but it's like I don't know. I liked it more than like Axis and Allies though, because like Axis and Allies and Risk and stuff, like with the dice, there's an element of chance, and Diplomacy is like 100%. Like the number of forces you move just determines like, okay, like you moved this many forces and your opponent has this many forces, and so like you win because you overpower them. So.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like after high school and into early college, my friends and I went through like a board game phase, but we were like Axis and Allies, and then like Axis Europe and Axis. There was like a Pacific one, and Risk was like one of the mainstays and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
And we got into Settlers and other stuff when we got older. But anyway.
Right. I've never played Settlers, but I'm told that it's like a lot breezier than Diplomacy. It doesn't take up to 12 hours.
Settlers is just like Settlers is now like the bog standard like intro to like quote unquote hardcore board games. That's like you can buy that shit at Target for like $20 now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Now it's just everywhere. Now it like when it first came out, everybody was like, "Oh, this is tight." And now it's like everybody's like, "Yeah, dude, I played Settlers. I played Settlers when I was a baby."
Right. Yeah, I don't know. The other one I've heard that's similar is actually like Anthony and Kurt told me that Babylon 5 is like a similarly time-consuming.
Are you thinking of the not Battlestar Galactica?
Or yes, I always confuse those two things, by the way, because I haven't seen either one of them, so I always confuse those two things.
Yeah, that's because I have played that, and they are right.
And apparently someone is a Cylon but doesn't know it until halfway through, which is the thing about it that kind of makes me want to play it, just to find out like that game is actually very cool. The problem with it is just that
one of those games that has a bajillion million rules. So it's like the first like 3 turns, you're gonna be like, I still don't even really know what I'm doing. And then you start to figure it out, and then you get into it. And
That
then it's like
sounds
the
like the
second
time-
time you play it, you're like, oh, okay. But it's like, it's when, yeah, I don't like
That sounds
that.
like the time we tried to play the Dark Souls board game. It did not go well.
I mean, we didn't even get to the point where we were playing it because we were trying to set it up, and then supper arrived. So it was like, oh, too late.
I feel like we tried to take like a turn, and we were just immediately like, wait,
Carl
what?
Van Dunup was released. This map is
Fucking
really fucking me up.
Van Dunup.
Because it's
Yeah,
just
well, their
like,
territory
it's
is not
almost well, yeah, but I mean the shape is all off. Also, like that's Lake Ontario kind of, and Lake Erie kind of, but not really.
Right. Ev Genius says, in comparing to PTO complexity, it's nothing. Which PTO is also a Super Nintendo and Genesis? I don't remember. Pacific Theater of Operations?
Yeah.
Paid time off, baby.
Yeah.
I think I get paid today, actually, for like not working.
I think I
Nice.
definitely got paid today for
Probably
not
should.
working.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do, yeah.
Paid for being an American.
Yay.
At least I know I'm free.
Super NES, Sega Genesis, PC 9800 series, MSX, X68000, PC 8800 series, FM Towns is where we saw. Oh, but apparently it goes up to Pacific Theater of Operations 4 for PS2. So
Yeah, and I never fucked with those. So
I never fucked with
PTO
those either.
PS2? Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good.
PTO
it's
4 PS2, sorry,
Pretty
excuse
good
me.
time to be into tactics.
It's my favorite
games, so-
PS2 expansion.
Honestly, now is the best time to be into anything, because no matter what obscure genre you're into, there's something on Steam that is that.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know if
like
it's-
way cool.
I don't know if it's the best time, but it's definitely a good time to have broad tastes in video games because there's
Yeah.
there's at least something good of just about every genre at the moment, which is nice.
Yeah.
But there's been like there's been quite a few good tactics games released in the last 3 or 4 years.
Ev Genius says Steam is shit. Well, it certainly can
Well,
be.
yeah.
I mean, the way they run that platform is not.
That's not
the
great.
problem is Steam has become synonymous with the PC platform, but like you can get most of those games DRM free on GOG or whatever
GOG,
if you
yeah.
want,
Yeah.
or via Humble Bundle, or just you can buy all your games from itch.io if you want. There's a lot of weird shit on there.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of weird shit on itch.io. I saw a thing where a guy made like it's like an unlicensed, basically like Twilight Zone point and click adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep wanting to check that out, and I keep forgetting
Is
because
it
I never
called
go on
Twilight Zone, or
itch.io.
is
No,
it-
it's called something else. Let me see.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah, we can move on to.
Oh,
Do we
can I
have
tell
an
my
idea?
story about?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
tell
absolutely.
your story.
So
Absolutely.
I got to give you a little bit of history, which is Dragon Ball Z. Bear with me.
Okay. All right. Well, this
In-
stream is
in-
over.
in-
We'll see you.
Yeah.
Ah! No, so in like it's either like Holland or the Netherlands, or like is that the same place? I don't know. Somewhere in Europe, they did an English dub of the Dragon Ball Z movies, but they're like people who don't speak English like natively, so it's like it's famously awkward and like bad. And for instance, they call the Saiyan race, they call them the Space Warriors.
Uh-huh.
So there's lots of like hammy dialogue about like, oh, he is like a super space warrior and stuff like that. And it's called the Big Green dub because
Uh-huh.
they call Piccolo Big Green. That's like
Yeah.
the name of the character. Coffee knows all about this.
I
but
do.
For the uninitiated,
Uh-huh.
I'm explaining.
Okay.
So we like me and my roommate Paul were like
Uh-huh.
joking about like we've known about the Big Green dub for a while,
Uh-huh.
and there's another movie called where the bad guy is Metal Cooler.
Uh-huh.
So we were looking for a particular YouTube video that has a funny quote from the Big Green dub of the Metal Cooler movie.
Uh-huh.
So we Googled Big Green Metal Cooler, and we just got a bunch of like green ice coolers like that
Uh-huh.
you would take to the beach, and that
Yeah.
was like just pages of Big Green Metal Coolers. And we're like, where the fuck's the Dragon Ball? We're both like, oh shit, we're fucking stupid.
You guys got into the weird internet again. You
Yeah.
don't want to go to the DeviantArt page
Yeah,
for Big
uh,
Green
yeah.
Metal Cooler.
I knew a guy when Dragon Ball
Jesus.
Fighters first came out that who toured Big Green.
Actually, the first one I got was one that says "Big Green Grunts Metal Cooler to Death." Is one of the very first things that I have on this.
I don't even.
Ooh, I don't want to see what that's about.
Evgenia says there are good emulators to get closer to the original than using shitty Steam. I assume that's if you're talking about older,
Yeah,
you know,
like DOS
throwbacky
stuff,
type
for
games.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
for
also
sure.
says, by the way, are you using emulation? Yeah, Eric. When Eric does this,
Yeah,
he
this
uses
is
an
Kega
emulator and
Fusion that I'm
Kega
using for
Fusion,
this.
which I think is almost
pretty good.
indisputably the best Genesis.
Yeah, it seems very good so far.
I don't know that there's like a Hegon equivalent when it comes to Genesis
Yeah.
emulation that I'm aware of. But if you ever tune in and I'm streaming, then I'm probably using real hardware and a flash card.
Well, I
That's
think
what I do.
Hygen emulates Genesis now, doesn't it?
Does it
I
really?
think so. I think it does like everything now, or at least
Wouldn't
all
be
the
that
older
surprising.
shit.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Do
I
we
don't
want
know
to
if
wind
it's
this
I don't know if
episode
it
of-
is perfect emulation in the way that does like Super Nintendo stuff, but I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah. I mean, you also need like a pretty beefy processor to run.
I mean, I
again,
do.
what you do with the
I've
Super Nintendo.
I played some Super Nintendo games on it. Seems really good. I don't
Yeah.
know. But then SNES 9X also seems totally fine for most things.
Right. Is that the one that had the weird like exploit in it though, or was that Z-SNES?
I have no idea.
One of them had like a weird like opening for Trojans or something in
Oh,
it.
really?
Uh,
Probably not anymore. Anyway, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna call this.
all right. So this Genesis or Genesisn't a game that found its way into your heart?
Nah, this ain't for me. But this seems like a totally good one of these, if that's for what you're into. But it probably ain't for me.
All right. Well, that seems reasonable. I guess we'll be back next week-ish, probably next week with more
Probably.
Genesis stuff, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes with I don't know something
More
else. that we'll stream
parades.
for a while.
More parades.
That's right.
Parade Simulator 2015. We'll get it
That's
on
right.
Steam for $1 and play it multiplayer for an hour. All right. Bye.
Night.
Bye.